$55 trillion asset manager BNY Mellon is getting into tokenized deposits. What does this mean for Ripple and XRP holders? We're going to explore all of that in this video. I have a ton of information, new stuff that you have to see. Let's start here. The world's largest custodian, BNY Mellon, is exploring allowing tokenized deposits and blockchain payments. Chad Steingraber says long Ripple partner BNY Mellon will begin using stablecoins and tokenized deposits. They all will. Every last one. RLUSD says BNY Mellon weighs tokenized deposits to address legacy payment constraints. Report says, here is a clip. Chief Product and Innovation Officer BNY Mellon mentions Ripple during this SALT conversation back in August. Check this out.
I'm going to ask Carolyn another question, which is, I think, so BNY has just been selected to custody stablecoins. Can you talk a little bit about how that process evolved and, what your experience was in the decision making around, taking that step?
Sure. So for quite a while, we've been enabling stablecoins, Circle and others. The announcement, I think, is Ripple, Open Eden recently as well. What we're really focused on
Open Eden as well. That is another Ripple and XRP connection. I'll show you that towards the end.
Is the enablement and the ecosystem. So how do we actually think about this concept? We said there's treasuries underneath. You need bank accounts, you need payments. So all of these things we do to enable the stablecoin. We sort of inside, we call it stablecoin in a box because we actually can enable all these things, and we have lots of partners around that do much of the pieces as well. And together, what's important is that this is about better rails, and I think Nathan said it as well. We really, if there's a pain point, if you will, for a client, how can these rails enable that? So from our perspective at BNY, what we're really focusing on is how do we enable the stable coins to actually save our clients money, to create better, cheaper, faster ways, reduction in capital and these efficiencies. So that's one really important thing for our clients. And the second thing is the role we play in this central position. Our vision is that by being the custodian and the enabler and manager in some cases for the treasuries of these stablecoins, we can ultimately, in a future state, interoperate between all of them. And that interoperability, imagine a world where you have treasuries in one stable and treasuries in another, all sitting at BNY. It's a book entry in many ways. The question is, how do you have 24/7 treasuries? Or if you have a cash account and a cash account, enabling between inside BNY for the tokens to move 24/7 and the underlyings to move 24/7, that's what we're focused on. So what we're comfortable with is enabling our clients who are stablecoin issuers, who are settlers of transactions. We have 55 trillion in assets in custody. Imagine if all of those wanted to trade on blockchain within the BNY network or outside. That whole system, if you will, can be enabled through BNY. And that's what we're focused on. So hopefully that explains it. But imagine if there are loads of stable coins and everything could just move in ledger within BNY from treasury to treasury to treasury, from one to the next. That's what we're focused on. That's what we're trying to help, and to scale stable coins and then yielding coins, if you will. So Carlos brought up a product that exists that's yielding of stable coin. It's the same investment guidelines as a stable coin, but actually gives yield. So imagine just going back and forth, checking account, savings account, checking account, savings account. Ultimately, we would love to be able to do that for the system.
It's interesting that they're telling us what the future of all this holds. So now how does this come back to Ripple and XRP? Let me go ahead and show you that information. So Miss Sandy O'Connor here serves on the board of Ripple as a chair on the board of BNY Mellon. So here's a connection between Ripple's board and BNY Mellon's board, which is Sandy O'Connor. Also, finally, a way you can support the channel. For $25 a month, you're going to get access to Crypto Sensei's dojo. Yes, we built a dojo where you can learn about XRP, all of the latest news. You can get access to content ad-free and early. I'm also going to give live reactions to XRP news. If you want to stay in the driver's seat of all the action happening in the market over the next few months, come join the dojo. Support me and my team, as well as get the latest and greatest best XRP information. I'll see you in the dojo. Check this out. Back in July, July 9th, 2025. Today, the leading provider of digital asset infrastructure for financial institutions announced that it selected BNY Mellon Corporation, a global financial services company, for the primary custodian of RLUSD. So we remember that. And then, of course, here is the proof of concept that people are highlighting on X today. And so proof of concept, test environment, experimentation with Ripple Connect software and Ripple Ledger Network, Ripple Connect software, payment communications and coding process, Ripple Ledger Network, transaction settlement ledger based on blockchain tech, modeling a cross-border low-value payment use case, and then potential benefits to confirm via the proof of concept was greater straight-through processing via upfront coding process, expedited payment settlement near real-time, lower processing costs, improved payment status transparency, and real-time liquidity monitoring, certainty on the end-to-end fees for clients. And so I wanted to explore this a little bit further. So here are the key points. BNY Mellon is exploring tokenized deposits and blockchain payments, signaling their interest in integrating blockchain technology into traditional banking services. A proof of concept by BNY uses Ripple's technology, specifically Ripple Connect software and Ripple Ledger Network, to improve cross-border payment efficiency and the settlement process. The proof of concept aims to confirm benefits like expedited near real-time settlements, low processing costs, improved transparency, and certainty of fees for clients. Ripple and BNY have a formal business relationship. Ripple selected BNY as the primary custodian for RLUSD. And of course, the third image is Sandy O'Connor. I wanted to take this a step further here and then also dig a little deeper. BNY is the largest custodian bank, overseeing approximately $55.8 trillion worth of assets. Total deposits, though, because that's what we're really talking about here, is $346 billion. Just wanting to take a look at how much does BNY custodian compare to the entire world. And so it says BNY controls 55.8 trillion in global assets under custody and administration as of 2025. For comparison, here in the United States, we have the DTCC, which has about 100 trillion. And then looking globally, there's about 147 trillion, and BNY represents 38% of that number. And to give you a little more context here with Ripple and BNY, it does talk a little bit about the proof of concept involved testing, Ripple Connect software, yada, 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 faster, more transparent payment processing with upfront quoting, near real-time settlement, lower overall expedited cost. And then Ripple's underlying technology can utilize XRP token for settlement and liquidity in cross-border transactions. Through this image does not explicitly mention XRP in the proof of concept. BNY's involvement is crucial because as one of the largest custodians globally, its adoption of blockchain-based rails, even as a test, shows Ripple's tech is being validated at the highest institutional level. Now, really quickly, I did see this comment here. This person posted, the ticker is ETH. With BNY data on-chain capability, BNY will broadcast select fund accounting data with Ethereum network. And so that is something that we should just bring up and talk about here. Let me just go through this. BNY Mellon is actively exploring the use of tokenized deposits and blockchain payments to modernize its $2.5 trillion payments processing, but is not publicly confirmed the specific blockchain it plans to use these tokenized deposits on. Current reports describe BNY Mellon's initiative as primary, involving private permission blockchain technology designed for institutional grade transfer and instant settlement. And then also this image with Ethereum, the information shown in the image is genuine and matches official communications and press releases from BNY Mellon in 2025. BNY Mellon indeed launched a product called Digital Asset Data Insights that broadcasts select fund accounting to the Ethereum network. But that's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about the settlement of tokenized deposits. So this person is trying to say that this is on Ethereum when I don't think this person realizes we're talking about something totally different here. BNY Mellon has their hands in a ton of different cookie jars. You tell me which is the best settlement asset that a bank could use. Is that Ripple's technology and XRP and RLUSD, or is it Ethereum? Ethereum's not really used for settlement. It's used for smart contracts and tokenization and those types of things. But when it comes to settlement, XRP and RLUSD remain king with institutions. The firm is leveraging permission distributed ledger. There is no current evidence that Ethereum or another public chain will be the primary network for this commercial deposit tokens. BNY does, however, participate in broader digital strategy that includes custodian and partnerships such as Ripple's RLUS stablecoin and money market funds and tokenization with Goldman Sachs. But these products are distinct from the core tokenized pilot. So We're still going to see how all of this unfolds. Of course, anything else can happen. Brad Garlinghouse this is not directly about BNY, but Brad's talking about the use of RUSD here. Let me just play this and we'll move on.
Ripple at its core has been a payments company and solving a cross-border payments problem. We use stablecoins, we use XRP where it makes sense. And stablecoins, when we were using that, we were a big part of activity for us. We were minting a lot, and we thought we can participate in this market, given our institutional background, given the fact we've leaned into compliance and been very regulated. We have over 60 global licenses to participate in these markets. So we feel like the growth ahead will serve us well as we continue to serve that institutional client. Ripple
that institutional client. So they are focused on BNY, right? And other institutions like BNY. And so this is just a massive picture. BNY classifies Ripple and Stellar as special blockchain infrastructure protocols. So look at how many partners and different aspects BNY has here. It's pretty crazy. And then on the bottom here, you have public chains, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you have special. They listed Ripple and Stellar under special. You start to wonder how special they really are. And then coming back to the Open Eden, remember when I played this clip, this lady here, Chief Innovation Officer at BNY Mellon, Carolyn Weinberg, she said something about Open Eden, and that brought me back to this. Breaking: Open Eden selects BNY for investing, management, and custody services for its tokenized U.S. Treasury bills, T-bill. This integration of Open Eden's tokenization platform with BNY's investment expertise and asset servicing capabilities marks a significant milestone in the evolution of real-world assets. And you've all heard this name before, Open Eden, because they are tokenizing treasuries on the XRP ledger. And so this is part of what I believe this is going to transform into when you're talking about bringing this $28 trillion tokenized treasury market on chain. Bond market around the entire world is $140 trillion. And so we know this value is going to be moving on chain. The real question that you have to ask is, are you invested in the chains that value is going to come in on? And I would believe that's going to be a mixture of things with Ethereum, layer 2s, the XRP ledger. I would imagine HBAR is going to have their hands in this. Link is going to play a role in all this as well. But really, the settlement assets, what you should be focused on, because I think those will have the tremendous value going forward. Also, X Finance Bull says, boom, this is bullish for XRP, BNY Mellon plus Ripple, tokenized deposit, instant payments, 2.5 trillion a day in legacy payments are being re-engineered with blockchain. Ripple is involved in custody and reserve management. This is regulated internet, still bearish. And so just giving this additional context, the latest pilot forms part of BNY Mellon's broader digital asset strategy, which includes partnerships with Goldman Sachs to deliver tokenized money market funds and work with Ripple on custody and reserve management for stablecoins. So Ripple is going to be involved in some way or another here. We just don't know how big. I'm going to be really excited to give you the news once I can finally verify which is which. But I wanted to lay all this research out to you and show you the speculation online, and you can be the judge of where you think this is going. But this is good news for all of us. The more adoption we can have, especially with the largest custodian in the entire world, man, if this really does come forward and Ripple is a part of this, think any other financial institution, any other bank, any other financial market infrastructure on the planet, if BNY can use it, if BlackRock can use it, if all of these bigger institutions can use it, anybody can use it. That is why Ripple waits for all of the licensing. They wait for the approval from the regulators. They wait for all of these things because they have to, because who they are working with is the top of the, I was gonna say top of the pyramid, but the pyramid's probably not the right word there. Top of the food chain? I don't know. All right, you know what? We're just gonna leave it at that. Have a fantastic day. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Let's go. Peace.